Hi, this is Dorothy, and I'm going to show you the Holly and Ivy card making stamp set with this wonderful, wonderful Santa. I love this Santa, and mostly because he reminds me of my possible dream Santa. Very traditional uh, and just full of cheer and happiness. So I really like him, so I had to get the stamp. And you get the thin cuts, or I got the thin cuts. I'm not sure that they're still available. But I colored him in a number of different ways. That one was using markers. And then I'm going to show you kind of how I colored and how I did it differently. Like I used the color pencils along with markers. And the first thing you want to do is use the intense black to do the outline. So it's kind of ends up kind of like a coloring book where you just kind of fill in the white areas. So I had to find my 4x4 block, and I'm going ahead and inking it up real good with the intense black. And of course, the reason why you use intense black is because you can color over it and the ink doesn't smear and spread. And it dries fast, which is what I like about the intense. Now, if you use the archival black, that's a great black too, very, very black. But it does take a little bit for it to dry. So this one dries almost instantly. So I've got four, I didn't even realize it. I think I was punched out two at a time with the thin cuts. So I've got four Santas here. And as I started coloring them, I started getting different ideas of how to enhance him a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean off my stamp and put him back so I don't lose him, because I really, really love this Santa. I'll be saying that a few times, so pardon me. So, first thing we're going to do is the watercolor pencils. And I'm just kind of adding black to the boots, kind of going around. I'm not being real precise and picky. And of course I've got to do his mitt and his belt. And then the next color we're going to do is red, and I'm going to outline. I'm using the wrong color. It almost was like a pink. So I'm going to outline around, and then I will kind of fill in between. And so it ends up being kind of a lot of work. I mean, if you like coloring, it's great. I'm okay with coloring. It's a little bit relaxing, but not as relaxing. Like, I wouldn't use it as a means to relax. I will say that. And I've got, I know people who use it to relax. Coloring doesn't do that for me. Maybe it's all the all the years of keeping it in the line instead of coloring the way you want to. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of lightly filling in. This is pretty much how I colored when I was young. So I'm just kind of filling it in lightly. I'm not going real hard on it at all, because I will come back with a blending pen and do some blending with this. That's kind of was my intention here. The detail on the Santa sometimes can be a little tricky figuring out what's what, at least for me, and maybe that's my eyesight is getting worse as I get older. So there's little bits and pieces that pop out. And then the bag, to me, it has to be like a suede type leather bag, because it's got to hold a lot of toys and it's got to be really strong. So I'm coloring it brown to kind of give the idea that it's a leather. leather thing. And I'm adding some darker brown to the tan to kind of highlight the wrinkles, make them good and dark for where they would be doubled over. And then just kind of smoothing out the color in between. And the cute little teddy bear, he's adorable. So I'm coloring him, kind of highlighting his nose and his ears. And his little arm is going over, holding on to Santa. It's so cute. So, and, you know, like I said, there's detail in here that it's kind of hard to tell. So this is a bow, and it's a present. And then, of course, we've got a doll. So I give her a pink dress. And then the ribbon is going to be a dark pink ribbon. And she's got little bows in her hair. She's going to be a brown-headed doll. One of them, there may be a blonde in here someplace, too. And then there's a flesh color pencil that's getting there, at least my color flesh. So I'm coloring the face and Santa's face. And those are lollipops that are sticking out of the bag. So the what I wanted to do, I mean, you can just leave the white trim, the fuzzy white trim white like that, but I kind of wanted to make it, this is the idea that I had. So I've got the stickles here, and I was kind of hoping it would be kind of thicker so that it would kind of look fluffy, but it flattened out. So can't say that it really looked fluffy. So then I decided to add some stuff to it to see if that'll work. And I put little fluffy, little white on the end of those little things are the tie to close the bag. Now I've got stickles all over me. So I'm just going to let that dry. And it's like, I don't know what to do next. Okay, so I kind of moved him out of the way. Having a hard time thinking of what to do. So this is my tri-blend marker, and this is the dark red. Once again, I'm outlining all around. And then I'm using the lighter red to fill in. And then so the wrinkles stay nice and dark, which that's my favorite. I really, really like the way that works. So once again, I continue outlining. And doing all of the wrinkles in the sleeves and around his jacket and the arms. So it's a little, like I said, it's a little hard to kind of see what's what. But I'm using the lighter version. So that's I use the darkest red for the outlining in the folds, and then the lighter red is the fill-in. Now you could add more shadowing by using the medium red and kind of going around the outline. So you would add a little bit more depth than I did. But I felt grateful that I just wasn't coloring in all the places that shouldn't be colored in. So here we go for the bag. So I'm using the dark tan. I don't know if that was earth. It's very dark. Once again, outlining. And then using the lighter color to fill in. And see, that really makes the folds stick out. So it looks pretty realistic. So here's very, very light tan, except that it was maybe skin color, more like. So I'm using the darker tan to color in the bear. But I don't want it to be so dark that you can't see his cute little eyes and nose. And then we've got the bow. I kept it green just to keep some green coming in there. And then the those lollipops that are pinwheel lollipops. So the thing that's nice about the tri-blend markers is you've got 3 colors of whatever, red, pink, green, tan, that you automatically can use for shading and filling in. So you can see that it's quite a bit more intense. And so I'm trying again with the stickles, except I'm putting out, now I'm getting messy. Okay, so I'm using the texture paste, hoping to make this stickles kind of thick. So here's the texture paste that actually dries clear. You don't really need for it to be white because it's going on white. So I'm putting a blob out there and adding some stickles to it to make it shiny, because it's not enough that it's just fluffy. So, and the texture paste seems to be pretty thick. It might be getting a little bit old. And so I added more stickles because it's a lot looser. Now I'm adding, because there isn't enough sparkle, so I'm adding this really old fine glitter that I've had forever, and just adding a bunch of the glitter to it. I'm just trying to add some dimension with this foofiness. And then I have to kind of let it sit for a while to dry, because the texture paste can take a while to dry, and then you've got all the other stuff that's in this conglomeration that I've made. So it's not exactly easy to spread. I'm using this really fine little paintbrush, and so I'm just trying to get some amount of substance on it so that it becomes fluffy kind of looking. But I have to tell you, it kind of flattens when it dries, but it is sparkly, that's for sure. So I'm gonna add, well, I just stuck my finger in the glitter, so I'm gonna add just the stickles was on there, so I'm gonna add some of the texture paste and see how that goes. So I'm kind of going around. So there's a cord, and then the fluff balls at the end of the cord that's tying the bag. So I'm eventually going to make that cord. I'm kind of picturing it as that thick kind of satiny cord that comes, when you have formal drapes, you can get that thick satiny cord. So that's kind of what I'm picturing there. And then you'll see what I do to try to make that stand out. So I'm adding some more of the stickles and what have you to my conglomeration here. Look at how chunky it is. You would think it would stay chunky when it dried, but not very much, not as much as I had hoped. Now I didn't really want to add chunkiness to his beard, and so later on I'll get a clear shimmer brush, glimmer shimmer brush, and kind of make the beards shiny, like they had just been washed, and they're all, like, how shiny hair is right after you've washed it. and it's all pretty. Well, that's what that's what I'm going to do to his beard. So this is what I'm showing you, is adding gold to the belt. So I took my gloss spray, the Gilt gloss spray, and I just shake it up real good and then just put like some drops from the bottom of the spritzer and paint the belt and the little loops there and the rope that ties the bag. And then I add some gold to the buckles on, and I really like the way that looks. I mean, I tell you, that spray gilt, it is so shiny and sparkly. It's very, very pretty. And I really wasn't sure about, whether that was going to work, but it really adds a nice touch to it. You can't appreciate it too much in the camera, unfortunately. But I was real happy with that I thought about doing that. So I'm just kind of adding another layer where it's kind of light. And then I decide, well, the buttons, that's a good thing for the buttons to be. The buttons should be gold too. So I guess they could have been black, but the gold is nice. It's a nice touch. And so I'm happy with that. And I tried to make those fuzz balls, fluffy with the my texture paste mixture. But I kind of decide, instead of having them fluffy, to just kind of continue the gold theme going down. And so I end up putting some gold glitter gems. Now this is the shimmer brush that this is just clear. So I'm just kind of going over his hair because, Santa would take a shower and get all nice and clean and spruce up his beard for going out on his big night. So he's got to have pretty shiny hair and eyebrows. And then I kind of see that his lip is kind of there, which I didn't even pay any attention to. And okay, so when you look, I'm adding a little lip color here. Okay, the one I'm doing right now, that's my favorite coloring right there. It's got a lot of depth to it. This one's kind of light. I mean, they're all okay, but I really like that lower one with the depth. So all of those guys are gonna sit and get dried out. Okay, so now I'm going to make a place for these Santas to live. So I have a piece of candy apple 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 cardstock, and then a piece of the Holly and Ivy. And then this is a new oval shaker window that I got. And the shaker window, there's a oval frame that is perfect for this oval window. And so I am going to use that, and this is the easiest way to put it down. So I'm just putting it right down and kind of centering it. And to some degree, I mean, I really thought, and I got some little pieces that decided to hang back. See, it's a nice big window, and so I'm putting my anti-static pouch there, and then putting some anti-static on my window, because I can use a lot of sequins with these windows. And so of course I'm going to use the snowflakes. I kind of thought that the snowflakes would stick out better than they did on that dark green background. I guess because the iridescent shows up so much, so you get the blues and the pinks. Somehow I thought the white snowflakes would show up more. So you want to make sure that all your sequins are away from the edges, the glue edges, the double stick foam. And I'm going to use the liquid because that's how I like to put the frame around the raw edges of the window. I like to add the liquid glue. And so there's my frame. And I put quite a because too much is not enough, I put quite a few snowflakes in there. I kind of wish they stuck out a little bit more. I don't know what I should have done, if I should have put a white background there, because when you cut this frame, you get a big oval inside. So you'll see me use one later on. But anyway, I kind of pictured that it would stick out, the snowflakes would stick out more. But anyway, I mean, you can see them, and whoever gets the card will be able to shake them around and have fun with it. So this is one of the die cuts that comes with this card making stamp set. And it's a nice greenery banner. So I'm inking it up, and I'm inking it up in evergreen. And you could, and I just kind of thought, well, it's got a lot of greenery there, so go ahead and ink it in the green. But it also has some pine cones and I think some berries in there, some holly berries. And so I'm just going to add the little Merry Christmas right in the middle of the banner. So, I mean, that came out fine. Later on, I use the intense black to ink it up. And then I actually can add a number of colors to this little banner to make it a little bit more interesting. I mean, you can color the pine cones brown and the holly berries red, and so I'm using a whole bunch of the squares that are left over from the shaker windows to put them down, put my pieces down. So here we go. And the window is so big, I don't really worry too much about the fact that he's covering up a big portion of the window because it's so big. You can still see the snowflakes. So I'm totally okay with that. Okay, now I'm putting it on a card base. Got it on there a little crooked. So that's kind of my first Santa. And there's various little tiny stamps that come with this stamp set. This is one of them. So it's kind of just a cute little curly Q. But there's also, which I didn't even realize when I did that, is that there's a little holly stamp with berries on it that's super cute, and a little tiny snowflake stamp. So, you know, that's fun. Okay, so now this is the oval that gets cut out with the frame. And so I thought, well, you know, that's a really big piece of white glitter. So let me use it. And since we had a full moon last night and we had the lunar eclipse, I was kind of thinking in terms of the moon and Santa standing kind of in front of the moon. Of course, this is oval, so what can you say? But I have an active imagination, that's all. That's all I can say. So I'm kind of picking off the mixture that I made on there. And I want to add the little gold gems. I don't know, I'm probably trying to find them right now. You could put glue there and just put sparkles. So I sprayed a little bit of the gilt on that background, and then I stamp over it. And so this adds a little bit of interest to the banner with a little bit of shiny gold here, and it matches, you know, Santa's little outfit. So that's kind of fun that we've got gold to match. So I'm adding some more of the foam pieces, the leftover foam pieces. Boy, I tell you what, I've got a whole lot of foam pieces from the extra windows, which is great, you know, because I don't have to use up my tape. I can just use all these leftover pieces. And tell you what, the oval there, you get a lot of extra pieces. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so there's my glitter gem, and I'm just putting one at either end. So it's I'm kind of liking how it's coming. It's kind of evolving. So I want to show you what I do. So I have a close to my heart box. It's a little kind of pizza box is what they call them. You know, it's like a little thin box. And I'm putting some of the backgrounds in there and shaking up the gilt spray real good and just kind of giving it a little spritz. Of course, I put too much on, then I start going crazy because I can't help myself. I don't know what to say. I don't know when to stop. So kind of seeing how the stamps look on the backgrounds with all the gold. So the first one's going to be Noel, pardon me. And it shows up just fine on the gold. You know, not as good as it would with just plain white, but that's okay. I mean, you know, Christmas is all about things that are shiny and gold and sparkly, so that's totally okay. So now the Noel and Merry Christmas both fit perfectly on the same background, and that's a great little background to keep handy for your card sentiments. It's a little fancy, but very pretty. And I'm going to do the Merry Christmas in red and in green. And then we're going to do the banner. So there's banner 1 and banner 2. Got lots of sentiments going, more sentiments than cards. Okay, the next card is using a candy apple red background, and then I'm using the other side of the holly paper, which is a candy striped paper, red and white candy striped. So actually I could just use the Santa and the sentiment, and that would be fine. Okay, so I'm taking this blender pen that I have here, and it happens to be just the right thing for blending the watercolor pencils. And so we're taking the pencil lines and smoothing them with the blending pen. This is a really old blending pen, and we have different ones now. This one's very old, and it's just hanging out, so. But it smooths it out just beautifully. Now, if you wanted to add more definition to the folds in the material, then you certainly could. So I guess instead of doing that, I just feel like I want to make another shaker card, which kind of messes up my where I'm going to put things. So I'm centering the oval and then pulling off all the little squares that I can use for sticking things down. Now, because this is red and white, I'm kind of using, these are sequins from last year, I believe. So they're red and green, and they've got stars and stuff. So I just thought that they would look, they would stick out real well from the red and white background. And I'm adding some snowflakes, just 'cause. So there's my shaker window, and here comes my anti-static pouch. And no matter how much you anti-static, those sequins still pop. And they're standing on edge, and so they're stopping me from squishing it down. They're in there standing on edge. I mean, come on. Silly sequins is all I have to say. Okay, so I'm going to add my frame. This is a pretty frame. And it's available now. It's in the catalog. So I'm just trying to see, by me adding that shaker window, it's kind of like I don't know what to do with, I start covering it up a whole lot. Hard decisions here. So I'm putting liquid glue on there. I don't really want it to stick up. So I'm just putting some liquid on there to stick to that. The white glitter paper is really hard to get things to stick to. So that's why I'm putting one of my blocks on top of it. Let it kind of stabilize. So I will tell you, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe, and you still have time to make Christmas cards and Christmas pages. So I'm adding a little glue to help the glitter gems stick, because they did have the texture paste on them. So there we go. Another card done. Then we've got this card. So I'm using evergreen 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 background. Had to get a Smoritambo. And I'm using the frame, and I'm thinking of using the center. I made a green frame, which you haven't seen. So this was not the right thing to do, just so you know. So what I should have done was what I had been doing, which means put the foam oval down on the red and white paper, and then after it was down, then add the green. So this just goes to show you that I screw up, so life isn't perfect here. I'm just kind of clearing the path around the squares from the oval, and see, so I can't see what I'm doing, right? So not too smart. So I'm trying to see if I can, kind of cut through, and it's not really cutting through. Yeah, it's not really cutting through. This is, so what I should have done, and now I'm totally just guessing. And I'm totally off base. And I'm making a mess. Now I'll show you. Had I just put down the white foam oval on the red and white, I could have just gone ahead and centered it. And then very easily. And then added the inside green to the inside of the oval. And everything would have been just fine. So I made life difficult for myself. So there we go. And I'm using these. I don't think these are available, but if you got them, they sure were cute. They're the little pinwheel mints that you see around Christmas time. And I'm using those as my shaker. Sequins, they're not really sequins. But they're just so cute. So I'm going ahead and using them. Well, they act like sequins, don't they? Look at how staticky they are. And they're also standing up, so they're being a pill. So I'm putting my my little frame around it. And I'm just using that. That's my outside. So the inside, see, now I can't, because I put the Merry Christmas on the inside, I can't really put the Santa because I'm covering up part of the sentiment. You really don't want to do that. So what I do for this card is open it up and then put the Santa there. So that's how I fix that. So we still have the Santa. It's still a Santa card. You know, I have to do my own workarounds around me. So I kind of wanted something, but you know what? The deer, I love the deer, but he's too big. He's just not quite right for that card. And then I put kind of a happy holidays, kind of like it's coming out of his mouth. And I'm not going to pop up the Santa, I'm just putting him flat. And see it, so it looks like he's saying happy holidays. So there's that card. So I've got this card. Let's see, I made 4 cards. My camera's all wonky from moving around so much. Used candy apple and evergreen. And I still have a Santa left. So there's going to be one more card, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just having a heck of a time adjusting here. Anyway, there we go. So there we go. There's all the Santa cards, and I had fun with them. I had fun coloring them, and hope you like them too. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Smith. Thanks for watching my video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel and learn along with me. Thanks. Bye-bye.